Uh, okay, here we go. You ready?
I'm ready.
Welcome to Whispers and Bricks. My name is Ari Sherman. I'm your host. My guest today is Michele Risa. Michele is CEO and founder of Collaborative Solutions, Inc., working with executive leaders during these demanding pandemic times to shift from one being profit to four: profit, people, planet, and purpose, creating sustainable evolutionary change. Due to the pandemic and the hemorrhaging of talent, we turn the great resignation into the great retention, decreasing the huge financial expense while increasing engagement and loyalty. A worldwide executive speaker, Michele is presented at the World Economic Forum, Viacom, Forbes, Barclays, and TEDx in Manhattan, including a 6-month program at the New York Stock Exchange. She's an award-winning co-author of Conscious Entrepreneurs, a radical new approach to purpose, passion, and profit, and a TV producer since 1998, bringing positivity to an otherwise negative news environment. Michele holds a master's from Columbia University and certifications as a conscious business change agent in breathwork and PTSD. Having kicked cancer amid the pandemic, Michele Risa created 360 Health to use science and your heart to transform illness into prevention, navigate dark moments of life with ease and grace, and create a stunning, elegant life, however you define it. Post-COVID, Michele addresses our polarization and isolation with free workshops, healing conversations to shift from contention to connection and build more meaningful relationships. She's passionate about authenticity, spreading the truth about the glory of aging as a 2-time marathon runner, and creating belonging within the human family. Please help me welcome Michele Risa.
Thank you, Ari.
Hi, Michele. How you doing?
I'm doing really well. I'm almost know it as well as by memory. But yeah, all those things are really true.
I would hope so. I'd hate to sit there and read a bio that was all made up.
Right. But anyway, so yes, book is, whoops, but I guess not. Oh, right, it's all blurry.
Yeah, it's blurry. You're gonna have to get rid of your.
There we go.
Oh, conscious entrepreneur.
Yes.
Wow.
Right? A radical new approach to purpose, passion, and profit. And so that's literally what I've been doing most of my life. And so now, after COVID, it's just returning to what I've been doing, from individual CEOs to now corporations.
Wow.
And I'll just say what, my next gig is with Microsoft, which I'm looking forward to.
Oh, well, okay.
For all of Latin America, there's a women's group that has been meeting, and they're looking to bring it to the next level. And so I just feel really for all of us, whether it's with corporations, ourselves, or small businesses, we just have a wonderful opportunity to see what's no longer working from the old profit-only paradigm, as right? Milton Friedman started us in the 50s. Okay, profit is only fiduciary responsibility. To thank goodness, after COVID, I realized there was great suffering, but we also had a great learning. And the learning was, hey, people are really important, right? Years ago, my asset was my building, was my data, was my equipment. And more and more CEOs and people are just saying, no, my greatest asset is people. And I think the challenge, Ari, if I can just one last sentence, the challenge is, how do we crack the code of human potential? And I think that's the challenge more than anything else, right? Who am I? What is my potential? Many of us don't know. And I will say, when we know this, mine, I can help others discover theirs. And that's basically the process. I hope that helps.
That's wonderful. Now, before we get started with my questions, I have a niece whose name is Michele.
Nice.
And I have a cousin whose name is Risa.
Okay.
So I'm curious, what's it like growing up with 2 first names and no last name?
All right. Well, I'm called sometimes Risa and I'm called sometimes Michele, and I just go with either one, to be honest with you.
Okay, well, I guess there are a few people. Well, look, Cher only has one name. Okay, so I guess you're entitled to two first names.
I was born with it.
There you go. So, as you know, the name of this podcast is Whispers and Bricks. Now, the whispers are those voices telling us what the right thing to do is, and they represent the good in life. And the bricks represent the bad things that we go through in life. Now, prior to this recording, you and I had a chance to talk and get to know each other. I learned that growing up, life was pretty good for you. From age 16 until the age of 50, you never had to see a doctor. Most would consider you one lucky lady. During that time, you were leading a very busy life. Can you tell us more about that?
Sure. So yes, I was very strong. I've always been physically active, so I was very healthy. So even more recently than when I was 50, I could, do planks for 8 minutes and sometimes even for 12, and people would go, whoa, right? Or that I've said in the bio, I've run marathons, which, is an accomplishment as well.
Oh, huge.
Yeah,
My
okay.
daughter ran a half marathon and I thought that was huge. So yeah, running a marathon, it's my hats off to you.
Thank you. In addition, though, to the physical challenge for me, Ari, it's the mental challenge. What does it take? And this is really a huge part of my life, to always look holistically at everything.
Mhm.
So quickly, with what was it like to be blessed with strength, and not needing a doctor? Certainly when I was diagnosed with cancer, I got to say, wow, I thought I was lucky, but right when the bricks occur,
Mhm.
we then can sometimes better appreciate when we didn't have the bricks, right? I mean,
Mhm.
the bricks can be the wake-up call.
Right.
And that's how I used the diagnosis for cancer, to wake me up and say, what am I not appreciating in life? Is
Mhm.
this is happening not as some people may believe, for me to die. It was never my belief, and I have survived it. It was
Mhm.
always my belief, and this is true of my mindset and how I walk through my life, is that everything is here to offer me insights, lessons, and for me to improve the quality of my life with those lessons and insights. So everything's a gift, even the cancer.
Wow. So basically, by the time you were 50, you were on top of the world. And then you got hit with that major brick cancer. Um, so tell us a little bit more about that, what you were going through, how did it affect your life? Um,
Okay.
what was going on?
And again, this is my belief system, Ari. I believe I co-create my life with my soul. I know that might not be what most believe, but that's mine. I can only offer what I believe. So I create along with this more divine guidance. And I have a ficus tree across from me that's very large. And I was lying under it, Ari. And I literally said in 2019, I am here to live a magnificent life, and this ain't it. And literally within 6 months, I was diagnosed with cancer, right? And it's recognizing that I needed a brick to to kick me to a new level of living my life. I was just reading actually what I went through that next year, given I was in a great deal of pain. I couldn't sit. I was, due to the amount of pain, just really couldn't sleep either. And because I'm not a prescription drug person, I was healthy for all those years. I'm actually, quite frankly, more an organic, natural lady. We all make our choices. So I wasn't willing to take more of the drug markets prescriptions. And I used a lot of energy healers. I know people might go, oh, that's crazy, but we know Jobs also said, hey, you know, when he was diagnosed, do I do this naturally? Do I go conventionally? And I decided ultimately to do both. You're asking for more specifics.
Mm-hmm.
Because though I was working with many healers from as far west as New Zealand and as far east as Italy, so it was literally all over the world, but there are people who I knew. I'll just end it because maybe people's eyes are glazing. I believe that we, like Albert Einstein said, we're energetic beings and we resonate energy. And, you know, I think if someone's saying, what are you talking about? You know, when we walk into a room and we're not feeling well, that's one level of energy. If we walk into a room, you know, having just had a lovely day and we're feeling energy and feeling happy, right? We literally radiate a different energy. And without saying a word, people can feel it.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay. So if you were able to go there with me, I'm using the same simple concept. So what I do my best to be more conscious of my thoughts, because I know when what I think, I then end up radiating, or you know, it changes how I see the world. I walk into that party either, or I walk into that party, oh God, you know, miserable, right? So I determine that, and then that energy determines what I create with these people. All right. So that if people just leave with that possible test it in your own life,
Mm-hmm.
you know, catch when you're going to take something. I'm going into this party still. I can either walk in miserable, I had a bad
Mm-hmm.
day, I just got a ticket, or I was sitting in traffic or whatever. I can either let that bring me down and enter my life with that. I believe we have choice, and this is consciousness. It's not a big deal. I go, nah, don't want my traffic that I sat in to affect how I walk into this room to meet Ari and other people. I'm going to, right, work, I'm going to say walk with my best foot forward, and maybe that resonates with people, as opposed to not. And I have found it helped me through, and I got another, I cured it. I cured that cancer, that tumor that was quite large, in 5 weeks. Unfortunately,
Wow.
I let them, yeah, they freaked out. The tumor
Yeah.
was gone on the MRI. But unfortunately, I allowed them to continue their prescribed chemo and radiation, and I shouldn't have, because it's so compromised my skin. I mean, radiation does something to your skin,
Right. Sure.
right? It so compromised my skin that when I had a biopsy the following year and they found something, they had no skin to work with, to heal me with. It wouldn't, there's nothing that would come together. I say this only to say to people listening, as much as we listen to the experts, also just make yourself part of the team and gather information as well. I appreciate experts are experts, and we need to be an advocate. Maybe I tried my best, but in hindsight, to be more of an advocate for yourself, right? Just to learn and make the wisest decision you can with everything that you know, all the questions you can ask. So you were asking for more detail. Apparently, this is what I was to share.
Great. Great. So basically, you got hit with the cancer. That was a major brick. You fought it. You beat it. And then you just got hit with it again. That's amazing. Did you, when you got hit with it again? Here's what did you say to yourself, you know what? I give up. I quit. I can't do this. It's again. You know what? You just shattered my dreams, and I'm done with this. All right. Or did you just say, you know, you got up and you said, I'm picking myself up by the bootstraps, and I'm gonna beat this thing again. So, and if that was the case, like, how did you do that? Mentally, physically, how did you do that?
Again, because I trust my journey. I trust the whispers and the bricks, Ari. So if I'm getting a brick, again, we can either see it, and I understand, as, oh, I'm a victim and this is the worst thing that has ever happened to me. Or I can be like the Ukrainians and go, all right, this is a challenge, but I'm going to win. All right. So what I'm describing isn't, again, weird.
No.
I just want people to realize it's outside the norm. I appreciate that. I didn't let it determine my life or death, quite frankly, as some do. But I decided to be, I'll use my new metaphor, to be like the Ukrainians and say, all right, it's getting tough, but I'm up for it. And even though it looks like David against Goliath, I know I'm going to win. So I would again just say, without going through more, if you want more detail, I can do that. But I have something to tell you. So if you really talk about giving up, so I did it the second time, right? Because they needed skin, they had to take from my whole chest. They had to take skin from my chest to put this new skin where they needed new skin, because the old skin, as I said, was compromised. Okay. And so, yeah. So what unfortunately occurred is the surgeon who did the incision on my abdomen never closed me correctly. Okay. And I kept saying to him, it was swelling and it was like stuff was coming out of my lower abdomen.
Yeah.
And he kept saying, oh, be patient, it needs time to heal.
Yeah,
and
he probably
again,
said, that's normal. That's normal. That's normal. That's
normal.
what they always tell you. That's
Thank
what they
you.
always tell you. Oh, that's normal. Don't worry about it. And then, 3 weeks go by, 4 weeks go by. It doesn't stop. This is a doc. This is not normal. He goes,
exactly.
It really isn't normal. Let me see,
And Ari, and that's exactly what happened until I just got tired of him telling me, now, okay, he says, now you have to go back into surgery, because literally my intestines were coming out of my abdomen. And that's not a good way to live.
No.
And I went to a new doctor. Okay. I didn't go back to him, of course.
Right.
And I just 6 weeks ago had surgery again to put my intestines back into my abdomen. And I have to say, when I was going into this surgery, I'm not still fond of the operating room, the OR.
Right.
It's still not my favorite place to be.
Right.
I have to say, I was on the verge, because this time it was like, sorry, won't say my 4-letter word.
Yeah.
This, I mean, the last time with all the extra radiation, I got compromised. And now again, because the surgeon didn't do what he was to do, I was now going back into the OR to fix what he didn't do properly. And I have to say, and I didn't intend for this to be all about health, but I have to say, I did fight my ranting and raving and saying, this is making me angry, and so the third time around, Ari, was the hardest, because as much as my belief is I create my own life and I trust, the third time was the hardest.
I hear.
Okay.
I hear. Let me ask you this. Who's the one person you can point to that you would say had the most influence on your life, and why?
And they're not people who I knew personally. There's several. So because Mandela said they can imprison my body, but not my mind, I admired him. Or even Gandhi, who similarly did that. Or even Martin Luther King Jr., right? I mean, I'm a white person, last I checked, but I really I have no idea what it's like to have so many parts of life against me. I mean, I can rent anywhere, I can buy any co-op or home, I can get a loan, I can get employed pretty much wherever I want to get employed. I mean, and I'll just end it by saying, this is just my experience, and anyone who has a different one, no problem. But I went over to Penn Station to see the new Penn Station, because they're making like the old Penn Station, and I didn't live long enough to see the old one before they turned it into Madison Square Garden. And it's all new, and it's kind of the glass ceiling and all that. And I walked over to a New York State trooper with his hat, his state hat, gun, and we started talking about conversations and politics and all. And then in the middle of it though, I'll just say to you, because I said, well, I walked over to you, and he said, oh yeah, I saw you coming over to me, I grabbed my baton and my gun. I mean, he was making a joke.
Yeah.
Right? That I really frightened him, that I looked frightening.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, I didn't when growing up, but I now can appreciate that I have this safety, that this keeps me safe, right? And that's a blessing. That's a blessing, as opposed to a handicap or someone being ready to shoot me, right?
Okay.
And so I don't know how I got onto that, but the last time was the hardest, but again, as you can hear, I'm constantly learning, I'm constantly on an adventure, and I'm constantly looking to improve the quality of my life.
So before we go, do you have any words of wisdom for my audience? Some takeaway that you have for them?
I do. If you want to change the quality of your life on the outside, begin the investigation on the inside. I know it's easier to blame either parents, children, government, cops, fill in the blank.
Right.
Whoever. However, the truth is, and if you try this experiment, you'll see for yourself that just as we gave the example of how I was feeling coming in with traffic, or right, when I change this interior environment, it changes how I see the exterior environment. And therefore, if it changes how I see it, it changes how I respond to it. And so it changes how I create that experience, right? So as much as we get frustrated at what we can't control, do what you can control, which is here, right? Which is here. And just try it out as an experiment. See, when you're feeling that anger and hopelessness or despair, just please don't dismiss it. Please, my word of wisdom here would be honor that. As I was fighting my last time into the OR, please, dear God, make it my last. I was saying, Michele, fighting this will not help. And I had to comfort myself and say, before I shifted, I just want this to be clear. I didn't just say, okay, I'm going to be happy to go back into the OR. Ari, I sat with me and I said, I appreciate how you feel, and I have some compassion for you going back in there.
Right.
So please, in terms of, I said I was passionate about being authentic. Be authentic with yourself. I'm really angry. I'm really sad. And then do what you need to do. It could be take a walk. It could be listening to music. It could be whatever there's no magic bullet. It could be going for a swim, whatever your thing, right? That enables you to feel you and whatever you need to do for you. And I call that loving you, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
The most important lesson is, how do I love me and let me feel loved? Because once I feel loved, which I believe all of us yearn for, then, Ari, when we come to our brick and to decide how to deal with our brick, when you come with that point of view, that energy, that mindset, solutions that you never saw before become apparent.
Right.
So here we begin to create the magnificent life, however we define it. And I'll just leave by saying, I have healing conversations every month. It's virtual, it's free. It's my gift to everybody. And if there's a way, I mean, it's going to be a week from tomorrow, actually. It's November 9th, but I have it monthly.
Mm-hmm.
A week from Wednesday, excuse me. And it's a way to learn how to come, shift, and create the life that we also, however we define it, what we yearn for.
Mm-hmm. So if people want to get in touch with you, obviously, what would be the best way for them to do that? You have a website? Do you have an email? What's the best way for them to reach you?
The easiest is, since you started with my name, is LinkedIn. So it's Michele, it's one L.
Yeah.
And my last name, 4 letters, Risa. I don't think there's more than one of me. And so, you can find me on LinkedIn. My website and email a little longer. Do you want me to say the email, which is
Why not?
Okay. Email is just the initial M, my last name, Risa 11 at Gmail. Again, Risa 11 at Gmail.
At gmail.com.
.com, I'm sorry. .com.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So that's, Michele, thanks so much for sharing your story with my audience. I'm sure many people in my audience have been inspired. I really am. And I want to wish you all the luck in the world going forward. You've been listening to Whispers and Bricks, and I'm your host, Ari Sherman. Remember, if you feel like you're stuck in the mud, like you're spinning your wheels, wasting time in your career, your business, your life, if you know you're not enjoying all the success, satisfaction, and significance that you desire, then it's time for you to book a call with me at www.callwithari.com. Check out my Whispers and Bricks Academy. And until next time, listen to the whispers, avoid the bricks, and never, ever give up on your dreams. Bye for now.